Hello, it's October the 25th, 2025. Happy Saturday, everybody. Let's go for a walk. I am heading towards the river, just going to do the regular riverbank thing. We're starting to get a little bit of fireworks going in the trees. Of course, the maples, as always, are doing their thing to some degree. I just don't think it's going to be, when it's really colorful, even my colorblind eyes can see that it's pretty fireworks looking. A lot of these trees, to me, they just don't seem to have a whole lot going on. Of course, it's still a little bit early, and this is a Bradford pear. That's a big Bradford pear. Both of those are. As much as I hate those things, they do look pretty cool for about a week in the spring and a week in the fall. But they also are crowding out native species, and because of the way that they bloom early, because they're the first thing that blooms, they're kind of messing with our pollinators too, which is not good. We're already losing them at a terrifying rate. Come on. Thing. If you look at her carefully, as she gets ahead, her ears are turned back. Well, until she saw that squirrel. But when we're especially if we're in a kind of busy area where the sidewalks are right by the street and there's a lot of traffic, boy, her ears are pointed straight back at me all the time. It takes nothing for me to get her to stop and wait, or move over so that somebody can get past her. She's really good like that. Anyway, yeah, like I said, the maples are showing some color, and some of the nut-bearing trees have nice yellow going on in them, but it's not, I don't know, it's just really, I think it's going to be a little drab this year because it was so dry the last half, and they usually like to head into the fall with wet toes. It's probably, that moisture is letting them really pull those sugars out of those leaves, and because they can pump water up into them to make sap and etc. to ready themselves for the winter. Oh, hi, Mr. Squirrel. This is we're right by I-64 here. Walking towards where we're going to cross the levee. All the way at the far end of this is the bank comes up pretty steep, and what is it? Is it Portland over there? Portland Avenue? No, I think it's Northwestern Parkway. Yeah, is over that way. So the levee just kind of sort of slants down to the road there, and there's a path on top of the levee that then goes down into this little Portland Wharf Park. It's cloudy. It rained a little bit this morning, not much, just kind of sprinkled, which is one reason that it's like 12:30 or something right now. We're I took my time getting ready to leave. So I'm going to head up here, and I'll come back in a minute. It's kind of steep. So there's that railroad bridge. You see the people kind of hang out under here. There's a fire circle in this area. I don't know what this is. Probably something to do with the sewer system. But who knows? Could be gas lines, or somebody at some point lit something plastic on fire here, and it's all melted over the rocks. It looks like poo, but it's been there for probably 2 years or so. Somebody probably hanging out, either sleeping there, probably sleeping. Too many homeless people. Such a shame. The richest nation on earth, but we can't afford to keep people from living in tents. But hey, we got to give tax breaks to the billionaires, because otherwise they might take all their toys and leave. So yeah, this is at Portland Wharf Park. Well, those trees have both just about lost all their leaves. I don't know. I think those are oaks. Oh, there's a little. Is that a butterfly? Yeah, it is. Hi, little guy. You're pretty. Oops. Well, thanks, Dakota. What you looking at, man? I think that might be a little bit more her voice. So pitch it up a little bit. Hey, what you looking at, man? Yeah, maybe that ought to be her voice. Her actual voice is woo. I should film her while I'm getting dressed to take her for a walk, because she sings the entire time. It's pretty funny. Of course, I'm singing back to her, but she cannot stop once she gets started, because she's so excited that we're gonna go. So I cat burglar today. This jacket I took. Look, it's got. I took it out of the closet, put it on the bed, turned around, put my socks on, turned back around, and there was a cat on it, of course. And it was Weeble, the only one that's got a lot of white hair on him. So, and he was just sitting on it, like just cleaning his back leg, like, oh, this is nice. Like, just a second ago, you were laying right in the middle of the bed. Why did you get up and get on my jacket? Cats. So, I may have mentioned that I bought a pair of Merrell barefoot style shoes this spring, thinking, oh, they're Vibram. That'll last forever. It did not. Those things wore through in 6 weeks. I mean, admittedly, I walk a lot of miles every week. But I wasn't wearing those to work or anything. I was just putting them on for my morning walk, and then I would put on other shoes for the afternoon. And they just wore right through. Well, I mentioned something. Well, no, I decided to see if they would resold them. So I contacted Merrell, and much to my amazement, an actual real live person answered the telephone and spoke very clear English, which was nice. Did not have to ask her to repeat herself once. I asked her, do you guys resell your shoes, because these just wore out in no time? And she said, no, but there's a 1-year warranty. So when did you buy them? And I'm like, it was in like May or something. And by early June, they were gone. And she said, well, just, fill out this form on the website and we'll give you a refund and, or exchange. So they gave me a $120 credit for shoes, which is actually $10 more than they charged for the shoes direct on their website, which was, that's $110, which is, I think I paid $80 for mine from Amazon, but they were on sale. But they were, it's Merrell on Amazon that's selling them, so they're like way cheaper on Amazon. Anyway, I filled it out, and they were like, well, if we don't have that exact one that you bought, what's another one for, 120 or less that you want? And I was like, well, it's coming up on winter. I'll get the leather ones instead of the cloth ones. And those were 120. And ta-da! They sent me leather barefoot shoes. And these are, they are super comfortable. But I'm going to wear them sparingly. I guess just only on these really long walks, and especially if I'm on trails. I mean, most of this I'm on trails. I'm probably gonna do 2 miles on the asphalt. All right, I'll go that way. It looks a little mucky, but it's probably not too bad. We haven't had a whole lot of rain lately. Have had a little bit, which is nice. Don't really know what's going on with the colors back in here. I can't really see them very well, but I really kind of don't think they're very bright. And I don't mean that they don't do well in school. I don't think that's much of a trail. All right. I'm letting Dakota navigate. Of course, she's probably going to go tearing off into the bush any second now. What you hear over there? Anything? So I was going to work today. I am painting detail on this old building downtown. It's an art gallery, and it's been I painted it 20 years ago, the entire building, and it's a big building. It's an old drugstore from like the turn of the century, and it's 3 stories. You know, the top floor has like 9-foot ceilings. The second floor has like 12-foot, and the bottom floor has like 15-foot ceilings. So it's tall. So we rented a lift for 1 week, and I've actually got the front pretty well prepped. I just need to prime some of the brick where they're going to have me paint the detail. But most of the, and there she goes. Hi, crows. So I've got to do a little bit of priming and clean a little bit the areas where I'm going to work, and then I should have it painted by Monday, and then I'll move over to the Clay Street side and do it. I had to do some tuck pointing yesterday, which took a while. It's a historic building, so you got to do a lime sand mix for the mortar. Put just a little bit of Portland cement in it to make it stick together. But it's mostly lime and sand, the way that it originally was. It helps those old bricks breathe. But yeah, there's a whole area way up at the top. So anyway, I've got this lift, and the thing goes up 35 feet, so that's killer. It goes just as high as I need it to go. It is a little nerve-wracking. It's called a knuckle boom. So it's articulated in 3 places with a part of it that extends, that telescopes out. So at the very end of it, there's about a 5-foot arm that goes up and down, and it can swing side to side, and then the bucket that can turn side to side. But I haven't needed to do that. I'm up there by myself. If I had another person in it, I would turn it to face the building so that we could stand next to each other. But the thing about, the amount of work I've been able to do since Wednesday is just insane. If I was having to do it with scaffolding, I would have probably just yesterday gotten finished getting all the scaffolding set up just for the front of the building. And there's no way in hell I'm working a ladder that tall. That's just not going to happen. I got rid of my 37-foot ladder because I'm done with it. Probably should have put a higher price on it because it sold in like 5 minutes when I put it on Marketplace. It's a fairly expensive ladder. It's not new, but it's in perfect working order. So here we are down by the river. Boy, I've been blabbing this entire time. There's a car. I guess somebody's probably fishing down there, would be my guess. Either that or that's been stolen, which would not be unusual. It's very still today. Did I do the temperatures and stuff? It was 53 degrees Fahrenheit, which when I left the house, which is 12? I think it's 11 and 2/3 to be exact, or close to precise, within a few thousandths of a degree, maybe 10 thousandths of a degree. It's about 70% humidity, which isn't bad. I am, of course, now that we're about 2.5 miles into this, I'm starting to warm up, so I'm probably going to lose this hat in a minute. I don't think it's supposed to rain for the next few days. I sure hope not, because otherwise I'm going to have to dive in and out of working down there. Rain when it's painting is not cool, and I really don't want to have to keep that lift for more than that 1 week. I will move to scaffolding for the bottom, scaffolding and ladder for the bottom part, if I don't just finish everything, which I kind of don't think is going to happen. There she goes up the hill. Luckily, that thing just loops back down on the other side. I think that's some people's little play path for their four-wheelers and motocross bikes. So the felon in chief has decided to tear down the entire east wing of the White House without asking any permission or anything. And of course, this Congress isn't going to do a damn thing about it. Every time before this, there's been any major alteration to the White House, it's gone through Congress. But Congress worships the orange baboon and will let him do anything he wants to. So, the historic East Wing that was made by for Eleanor Roosevelt to work in, and just full of artwork and history, and is gone. Kind of some funny memes about it, but I think it's just awful. It was bad enough when he tore out the rose garden. What a dick. Just tasteless, tacky asshole. Nothing matters but him. Didn't ask if anyone else wants a fucking ballroom added onto that. If you really need something that big for state dinner, you don't have to do it at the White House, There's lots of really nice, large buildings in Washington, D.C. that you could rent a ballroom from. But no, he's got to spend probably $500 billion by the time it's over building this thing. I think last time I heard he was up to $400 million from the original $80 million estimate, which is still, what a cock. You've got people that are literally, public employees, public servants who are relying on food pantries to eat right now, and you're building a goddamn ballroom. It's going to be tacky and covered in gold gilt and just bleh. Guy has no taste whatsoever. Or I guess, no, he's got some taste. It's just the worst taste in the world. And there's plenty of criminality on his part. You just can't keep up with it these days. Murdering fishermen down by Argentina and then claiming that they're drug dealers. Yeah, just like all the people that ICE are detaining. They're all hardened criminals, the worst of the worst. It turns out they're like Canadians who've overstayed their visa by a month. Yeah, just ridiculous. And they're they just hold them. There's no... this is just un-American. Everybody, not just citizens, everybody has the right to due process. It's the Founding Fathers made that really clear. But these people, same people that say that they're Christians, while they're cutting health care and making life worse for incarcerated people, and just basically not doing anything that was good that's in the Bible. But boy, that Leviticus, man, they are all about that. Even though they don't follow any of it, but by God, they want us to follow it. The little bits of it that they can use to whip other people, especially those that are vulnerable. Like, oh, those gays and trans people, we've got to find some way to just beat them into the dirt because it makes us feel better. Oh, brown people, arrest them. Which is, I mean, that's basically what the Supreme Court has said that they can do now. Now you just look at somebody and go, well, I think they're a criminal, and then arrest them. That's just, oh, I don't like what America has become. Let's make America great again. Hey, that would be a good slogan. Because he's definitely fucked it up. You can still get across this bridge. Man, I mean, look at this. They had this completely clear a few months ago, and it's already got a good layer of silt over the top of it. I guarantee you next spring it'll have, a foot or two of dirt deposited on top of it. It happens every year. It gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And also, I mean, why if you're gonna get down to the asphalt, kind of clear it back away so that the water can drain off of it. And it keeps getting deeper. Look how deep this is. Since they put this asphalt down, this much deposition happened from the river from it flooding. Boy, this hat's gonna have to come off. All right, I'm gonna stop for a minute. My hand's starting to hurt. I'll be back. So I stopped back over that way a little ways. But so yeah, it's this deep, and then we quit. This city, I don't think that 90% of the time anybody knows what they're doing around here. I just saw her just a second ago. She's off, she's tracking for something. Just barely see her through the trees there. She'll go down by the river. She doesn't seem to really care that much about the river. Yeah, I'm just wanted to show that bump in the road right there. I am warmed up. I don't know if the temperature's actually warmed up, but I have warmed up. We are right by the Sherman Bridge now. I guess I'll go all the way over to Shawnee Park. Go take a look at the smokestacks. Which way should I guess I'll go this way. The actual asphalt thing is up on top of that ridge, but I don't feel like trying to cut up through all those weeds. I can hear Dakota crunch. Oh, there she is. I can hear her crunching around over there. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me in the comments below if you can see lots of color in the trees. Thanks. Like and subscribe. I need that interaction, you all. That's how I get in the algorithm. Whatever the hell. It's like, 10 people watch these. It's really funny. I've been doing those the dog walk updates since Snowpocalypse back in, what was that, February? Late January? And those get anywhere from many hundreds of views to over 1,000, sometimes over 2,000 views. And these long format ones don't get hardly any, even though I think some of this is kind of neat to look at. Like, there's a big tree that obviously floated up there. And here's a big bridge. This is kind of a cool bridge in its own way. Oh, that's new. Oh yeah, there's a lot of new stuff. I might have to come down here and shoot some graffiti. This is one of the, see that hatched area right there? These columns, I think they got a D rating when they finally inspected the bridge. They've started inspecting it a lot since then, because it's like there's lane closures like every other weekend for them to, and you can tell it's just inspectors, they're not doing anything other than crawling all over it and probably, testing the bolts to make sure that they're properly tightened down. Looking for any cracks, anything. But the concrete was just sloughing off all over the place. I mean, look, you can see all those patches there. There was just, big chunks of concrete on the ground. You could see the rusted rebar inside of it. So they had to clean all that up and then put new concrete over it, probably weld in some new rebar as well to patch all that stuff. I don't know if it was the quality of the cement, which is very possible. A lot of contractors will say they're going to use X-grade cement, and then they use something half as expensive because they figure no one will ever know. It's like, yeah, well, 40 years later we know, but you're long dead or out of business, one of the two, and nobody's held responsible. We really need to have contracts that, for these major projects like this, that have long-term criminal penalties, not just financial ones, and ways that the individuals that sign the contracts are personally held responsible for every aspect of it instead of their business, because they just declare bankruptcy. It's like, oh, it's going to be $100 million fine. Well, we've only got $80 million, so we're just going to go bankrupt, and you'll get whatever's left after we sell everything. But they're still going to sit on the profits they made over the years, from projects or from their stocks. We got the dumbest system. It's just Robert Reich puts a lot of stuff up on Facebook and the social medias. He had something on about, actually he's gone on about this for years, but stock buybacks, where companies take their profits and rather than paying their employees better to reward them for making profits, or investing back into the business to make it more sound, more efficient, bigger, better working, they buy back stocks. That means that all the executive suite gets a big fat bonus, and everybody that's a stockholder gets a chunk of money, and it all just goes away, and they don't pay shit for taxes on it. That's what's really, really infuriating, because I as just a contractor pay way more in taxes than these fucking people do for just gambling. And if you were if you were casino gambling or online gambling or whatever, then you would pay, what is it? It's like 3/4 of your winnings, or half, or it might even only be a quarter, but that's a significant chunk. Whereas these son of a bitches are like, 2%, if anything. As a matter of fact, I kind of think that stock dividends they're just not taxed. Capital gains is what they call it, I think. Yeah, here's another place they gave up. It's just, now it's just a pond. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the frogs were happy about it. I did see, it was a nice sign this year. I saw a lot of tadpoles. So, I wonder if it's been too cold. They're probably done for the year. Yeah, I don't see anything moving in there. I'm surprised Dakota didn't stick her face in that. Puddles are like crack for dogs. So most of these leaves are cottonwood leaves. They've got this sort of distinctive shape with the little pointy things around the edge. But they fell ages ago. I mentioned it on one of these that there were leaves everywhere. That's when I figured out they were cottonwood leaves. Here's a foundation stone. You can still see the drill marks from when they popped it out of the quarry. Oh, here's another one. It's a little more rough hewn. I think those were probably placed when they put in this little road, which they've abandoned. I've yacked about that forever. So anyway, that was my taxes rant before this. I could go on, but I won't. Yeah, look at the size of this thing. I mean, that's a sizable tree. Ooh, there's a hole in it. I wonder what that's from. Oh, there's a bunch of holes. Yeah, that is a bunch of tree. So's that one. So's that one. You know, I know nothing about the wood from the cottonwoods. I don't know if they're good for anything, lumber or whatnot. I know that willow is used a lot in England. That's what they make the cricket bats out of. But I'm not sure if it's the same kind of willow that we have that grows along the rivers and whatnot here in America. I should probably find that out. And I should probably look up to see if cottonwood is a usable wood for anything, or if it has any interesting properties, because they do fall down every once in a while. I could always, if they do have something interesting in them, I could always cut a piece of it and rip it and try to make something out of it. I think Dakota's nose just like yanked her around. It's so funny to walk just trotting along, and all of a sudden it's just like something just grabbed her by the snout, and whoop, there she goes. Well, whatever it was, I think went to ground. That's a really nice day to be back in here. The temperature's super nice. It's very still. The river just looks like glass right now. Sport ball. This is a little bit of urban nature. I mean, the city's just right on the other side. Oh, there's another nice piece of stone. Probably from Indiana. Most of the sandstone that they use to make these blocks. Yeah, boy, this one's been shaped nicely. This might have been a cornerstone or something. I'm sure they only faced the blocks the faces that were visible when they were taking these out of the quarry, because that's a lot of work to get that stuff flat. Boy, that's a huge tree right there. Doesn't have any leaves in it, so I'm going to guess that's another cottonwood. Boy, look at that thing. It's just gigantic. And it's tall. And there's another huge one. I don't know. I don't know the age of these. I don't know if this area was ever cleared. I know that up ahead of us was, what was it, La Fontaine Park, I think, which is now Shawnee Park. It was, of course, a segregated park along the river, so only the white folk could get into it. And then, because Americans are insanely racist, don't believe a word that the Republicans I have to say about racial discrimination in this country, because it is rampant and still is. But it was really bad back when they were forced to segregate it, so they just closed it down. And after quite a few years, it was completely torn down, and then they put a park in, which, I don't know, at one point that park was probably really, really busy, because it had well, I guess the La Fontaine Park, with all of its rides and swimming pools and stuff, I think that was next to the original Shawnee Park, and they just expanded the park into it baseball fields that they used to have on what's now called the Great Lawn. Those were there. I know they were there in World War I, because there's a monument to local players that were in World War I, right in the middle of it. And I kind of wish I could get onto the golf course here to skip this next part. I don't mind this, but there's that one place where it's really badly washed out that I kind of do not like. I did figure a way to get up it the other day, but that all depends on the driftwood still being there. I used to get up. Yeah, I hope wherever you live, you've got something like this to enjoy. Am I hearing a boat? Oh no, that must be a train over there. There's train tracks that run on the other side of the river. But yeah, I think I'd be able to see through the trees here. That we'll get a better look at it in a minute, but it is just glass out here. I'm going to turn this off for a minute while I navigate this barrier and get up onto that path. I'll be back. I've also got to catch Dakota. Yep, river's very smooth. Smells good up here. There's some of these fall smells that got kind of. Ooh, where are you? Oh, I just saw it. Is that a pileated? No, I don't think so. Well, I'm covered in these little devil horn things that I don't know, we always call them stick tights, but I think there's another little round doohickey that I think those are actual stick tights. I don't know what those things are called. Huh, somebody just yelled 4. I don't think I've ever heard that in all the years of walking past this place. I guess there must be someone downwind of them. Or downfield? Yeah, downfield. Is it a good walk ruined? A lot of people like to spend a lot of money knocking little tiny balls around a sterile, hyper manicured golf course. Okay, so, oh look, it's still the way I left it. So yeah, I was able to actually step up this last time. This has gotten to be a pretty large step between here and up there, but this kind of helps. So go on, you can do it. Yeah, I knew you could. I knew you didn't even have to try. Here I am, like doing everything I can to get up here and not die. All right. See, now I have to grab the fence to pull myself up. Ta-da! Yeah, it wasn't too bad this time. Yeah, there's some yeller in there, in the color, and some Johnson grass. Oh no, what is this stuff? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, please. I should do my radio voice more. Hey, it's your pal Al here at WAAW Murray, your rock station. And now we're going to play some Phil Collins. Remember when that station came on in Murray, somebody bought the transmitter and stuff, and they got the new call letters, but they weren't actually open, but they were test running all the machinery. So for like 2 weeks on loop, they played that Phil Collins In the Air Tonight. I mean, just over and over and over again. I think it was just the intro too. They just played the intro and then it would start over again and play the intro again. Which is, this is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool intro. Really revolutionized and some would say ruined the sound of drums for a good decade. That reverse gate, or not reverse gate, but it's gated reverb that is. So what happens is when the drummer hits the drum, there's a slight delay, and then as a gate opens, which is like, you know, an automatic volume control that will open all the way up, and it feeds the sound into a reverb, and then violently shuts it off after a certain amount of time. So that's where that goosh sound, you know, it's not goosh. Anyway, I'm gonna get more of these things on me. All right, I'm gonna stop this for a second. I gotta tie my shoe. Well, that was fun. According to my phone, I just hit my goal. Despite the distant sounds of traffic and some construction, the sounds of the woods are very nice back in here. We're just about down to the end of this. Oh, you have to see what that looked like after getting through all those weeds. So there's the shirt, but then there's the jacket. This side especially. Oh, this is gonna be fun to clean up. The joys of playing around in the woods. And I'm gonna stop until I get over to the boat ramp. Well, we've reached the boat ramp. There's the boat ramp. Somebody's probably fishing over there to the right, unless they're right behind the car, which I can't see through the car. And yeah, these things are shrinking. I did that, and then this looks like that. I'm kind of thinking that they did just push it all into it. Now they're going to start emptying it out and taking it away. I'm kind of surprised we're not using a train for that, but you know, I guess dump trucks are easy. And, ready to go? Yes, you are. All right, and we're off. Now we're hiking up from the boat ramp up to the levee system up here, and then we're gonna go. I can't remember what the name of this street is. I don't feel like going all the way to Broadway today, so we're going to. This is, I guess it's where Northwestern Parkway ends, and then at the other end of it, Southeastern Parkway or Southwestern Parkway starts. Is there a Southeastern Parkway? This is a good question. I just met a new lady friend in the last few days who used to work for the park system. So she had some interesting tidbits and facts. I might go hunt out some of the trees she was telling me about. She seemed to be as fascinated by big trees as I am. God, that was dumb. I just covered you up. So these are the baseball fields that are actually used up here. I guess that's done with their season. Last weekend they were playing. I think there's some kind of large sports ball thing. Maybe the World Series or something like that is coming up. I really don't keep track of it at all. I do know, though, from listening to Canadian Broadcasting Corporation's little news podcast every hour. It's like 5 minutes or something. Great way to see what is important to our neighbors up north that we ignore. But boy, they were losing their mind over the Blue Jays. who I think are in the World Series. I don't know. I just don't pay enough attention to it to really care. I like watching baseball live because you can actually see the strategy that goes into, where the players are on the field, and how the pitcher's checking out the bases, and how just the kind of the shuffling around, and these guys are just so good at it that they just move and kind of naturally. But I'm sure that the coaches are also saying, look, you need to move over this way, and everybody needs to back up a little bit because this guy likes to nail him into the middle of the outfield, etc. But on TV, you've just got these morons babbling on and on and on about just dumbass stories and shit. And it's like, could I, instead of close-ups of players and people in the audience, and some guy leaning over and chewing sunflower seeds, and spitting them on the ground. It's like, show me the damn field. They never do. Unless there's something that looks like something wild's about to happen, they might show you that everybody's moved up, anticipating a bunt or whatever. But, just that it's part of the game, and it is just completely lost on television. Is that a cop? I can't tell. Might be a news helicopter. Yeah, cops are usually hovering somewhere if they're doing anything. This is where the Little League guys play. That is so much fun to watch, especially the Pee Wee stuff. It's just they have no idea what they're doing, and they're just running around and chasing balls, and the great thing is that I have yet to, while that's going on, see somebody being a kind of a jerk parent where they're like, Bobby, what's the ball? As a matter of fact, I haven't really heard any of that from walking through here while they're playing. But I guess it's over. Yeah, the mound's gone. So they probably spread that out, the sand out for the winter. Something I do not understand, and I might try to run this by at the parks department. But why are there so many just huge lawns in our parks? You could take the heart of this and put just a really gorgeous, like, wildflower field, so that we could have butterflies and hummingbirds and hummingbird moths and stuff like that. A place for them to gather, and something really pretty to look at. But no, we've got to spend a ton of money on gasoline and man hours to keep these things manicured for zero reason. They never get used for anything. I think maybe once or twice I've seen somebody out here like throwing a ball, with their kids, or maybe running having their dog chase a stick or something. But I mean, there's a lawn over here on the other side that's got to be 20 acres. It's just why? Well, what is the point of this? Even if you put 3 football fields on it for kids to use, you'd still have 19 acres left over. I don't know. I think it's very frustrating, especially that little park by my house has it's got a baseball field, and that thing has never been used. And I know it hasn't been used since I've lived there, and it looked completely unused when I first moved to that area. I doubt it's been used in the last 20 or 30 years. There's no mound, there's no base paths. There's the whole one half of the back wall is not only missing, but it's overgrown. I mean, the bushes and stuff have come into the field. But one of the wooden light poles, collapsed early this year, and they came in and put a new one up with new lights on it. It's like, why? I mean, this is never going to be used. What is the point of this? Just take the old one away and leave it. There's no benches. The only mound that's left is one of the two, practice mounds or warm-up mounds on the side. But the field itself, I mean, it's unusable right now. It has huge divots in it where the dirt is sunk in. And of course, some of the smaller divots that are in it, I mean, I've stepped into them just walking across that field and have felt like I was going to twist my knee or something. And it would be a perfect place to put in a great big, a wildflower garden like they've got on top at Iroquois Park. And it would look cool, and it would be a huge amount of work that the Parks Department would not have to do every year. They could maybe come in, late fall when everything had gone to seed and, mow everything down so that it comes back up the next year. But, or, leave it. Let the birds have something to eat all winter. Yeah, I don't know. See, like this. I mean, why? Why are these, what is the point of these big lawns? This over here, I've never seen a single person on this. Never. I think right over there, some girl accused me of being from the East End because I'm white. She's yelling at me because Dakota, who was dead tired and was walking right next to me. I mean, she was 2 feet away from me. She's like, "You gotta have the dog on a leash." I'm like, she's healing. Look, she's healing. This is. She's trained to do this. She's ignoring your dog completely. Meanwhile, her dog is just losing its mind on the end of the leash. Big German Shepherd. It's like, your dog is obviously impossible for you to control. My dog is not. So, anyway, people need to mind their own business if they're not being harmed. No one was being harmed. She was just irritating. But yeah, she was like right here. So, this lawn all the way back to there, that could be flowers. They could put rose bushes in. I don't care, but just why mow? Just mowing and mowing and mowing. That's just dumb. Add biomass. Well, here I am at Market Street. And I guess we'll walk down. Oh, there's a little bit of color down this way. We'll walk down Northwestern Parkway here. I'm going to turn on that hyperlapse thing and walk for a minute. And then I'm just going to end it because we've gone through here quite a few times. Let's go down this way to Guttum. Man, they've had this support up on this porch for like 3 years. Like, maybe you should go ahead and finish the work that you're doing there. Oh, that's pretty neat. Let me see if I can get hey, that's kind of just a interesting house anyway, over there. Kind of Swiss style. Yeah, they got some interesting stuff for their Halloween decorations. Not as much as I would like to see. Alrighty, so I'm going to call that a video. And please like and subscribe. See you next time. Oh, one last thing. Did I say like and subscribe? Yeah, please do that. Comment if you've got some urban nature in your area. Let me know where you are. It'd be fun to know. And release the Epstein files. See you next time.